Hey there. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good day. Whatever time it is, whatever day it is that you're watching, it's great to have you here for the self-love experience. As we ask, and you ask, and I ask, how do I love myself today? So forgiveness. Forgiveness is a big piece, and actually I'll be doing a video later for the 5-day challenge. One of the biggest challenges in self-love is forgiveness, and forgiving yourself, because I actually saw, maybe this will be the video. I saw a post from a young woman that's going through so many health challenges and relationship challenges and just being challenges, and she had mentioned that, it's really easy for me to forgive other people, and I get that. It's always been easy for me to forgive others. But when it comes to issues that I just can't forgive myself. And I thought, I used to be there. I used to be that person that couldn't forgive myself. Easy, super easy to forgive other people for their trespasses, for being who they are, for doing things that were unbelievable. But yet I was able to forgive that. But forgive myself for, like, eating something that I shouldn't eat, or having a thought that I think I shouldn't have. I would beat myself up so hard, and I go through phases where I still do that. And it's like, okay, with all this work you've done, how come that's still there? Hey, De Capone, I love you. It's so good to see you. I love that you've been a consistent supporter of the self-love experience, and ask, how do you love yourself today? And I'm really curious how you're loving yourself today. So back to the forgiveness piece. So the very first event that I ever did live, after all the speaker training I'd done, and I'd hired a 6-figure speaking coach, and the first talk I ever did was forgiveness to joy, because I was all about joy. I'd been named the Joy Authority, and it's just really easy for me to express joy because I forgive people, and I love people, and I love to dance, and being around people really brings me up, and I have a lot of fun being around people. And so a lot of people called me Joy for a while there. And hello, Barbara Marie. Nice to see you. And so my first talk is forgiveness to joy. Well, I did all my time prepping for the talk, but I didn't do any marketing at all. And this is one of the things that, I've been working on is, it's easy to promote other people, but promoting yourself can be one heck of a challenge. And so through this self-love challenge and the 5-day self-love challenge that I have coming up in it's Monday, just a couple of days here. And so I was thinking about that forgiveness to joy, and I was trying to do a little bit of promoting, and I was talking to this one woman that does events, and she said, you don't need forgiveness, all you need is love. And I was like really tweaked at the time. I'm like, well, but my talk's on forgiveness to joy, and you got to be able to forgive yourself. And she said, well, if you're loving yourself, the forgiveness comes easily. It's just a natural byproduct of loving yourself. And I sat on that for a long time, because I think forgiveness is still really important. And when you're forgiving others, because a lot of people have a really hard time forgiving others. Pardon the gloves, I'm going to be pulling weeds here in just a little bit. A lot of people have a really hard time forgiving others, especially if they've done something horrendous, horrific, life-changing. I'm reminded of someone that I met who had this just phenomenal ability to forgive. He forgave the man that killed his son in a drive-by shooting, and his son was young, and the young man that shot him was a minor. And he goes around and does talks now, and I thought, wow, to be able to forgive that, so where are you not forgiving other people? And so I think that forgiveness is very important. And when you're forgiving others, you're actually doing it for yourself, because the poison that is generated in our body by hating others and by holding on to resentments and anger and frustration and a lack of forgiveness for whatever somebody did, it's poisoning us. It isn't hurting them. It's not doing anything to them. It's damaging you. And that's one reason why forgiveness is so incredibly important. And yet, finding this self-love, it's a lot easier to forgive myself. And so that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. It's one of the biggest challenges to self-love is forgiveness. And that if you don't have that self-love, it is going to be difficult to forgive yourself. And the young woman that posted that, I just can't forgive myself. I know from what I've seen of her posts and the little bit of talking that I've done with her that loving herself is a really difficult thing for her. And I hope she shows up for the challenge. And I'll leave her nameless, of course. Always respect privacy. And always respect privacy. So with self-love, it's easier to forgive yourself. And as the other woman said, when you have love, you really don't need forgiveness because it just becomes a byproduct of that love. And yet, forgive others. Holding on to that grudge isn't hurting them at one bit, it's just hurting you. So what I would encourage you to do around forgiveness is be open to loving yourself. I talked about that in my video yesterday. So be open to loving yourself and sign up for the 5-day challenge if you haven't already over at Radiant Relationship Revolution. There's a link to go to Eventbrite. And yes, I fixed it. If you tried signing up yesterday, I had it stop yesterday because because originally I had planned it for last week. And so somebody reached out to me and said, I can't sign up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to go fix that right away. So I did right away. And so if you want to sign up through Eventbrite, which will get you some emails so that you remember to show up, and these videos, some links to videos, and yeah, so show up, and then, yeah, sign up and then show up. Be here with me. This is my 251st day going live on Facebook, sharing how am I loving myself today. So today, how I'm loving myself is getting my hands dirty, well, getting my gloves dirty, and pulling weeds. It's part of my childhood. I pulled a lot of weeds as a kid, and sometimes when I'm not feeling creative or I'm feeling blocked, it's good to just go and pull some weeds or take a walk instead of trying to sit down and beat myself up to do something that I'm not ready to do. Because when I do things that I'm not ready to do, it always backfires on me. I end up having to redo it later. So it's one of the things that I've learned in my self-love practice is if you really don't feel like doing something, go pull some weeds, go take a walk, go dance, take a shower, do something to shift your energy, and then get back to it. Because then you come from a feeling of accomplishment. I mean, pulling these weeds, I'm gonna feel really great when these weeds are pulled. And replanting some sweet peas so that they show up on the trellises instead of wandering all over the space here. And so that's how I'm loving myself. And if I can do this for 251 days, you can do 5 days. I know you can. You're going to have 5 great tools to be able to use whenever you want to experience love. And I certainly don't expect anyone to do what I do. If it's something that you want to do, awesome. I don't expect anyone to be able to do that. That's a challenge, isn't it? Beat me in my game. But in the meantime, I hope to see you on Monday or in the sign-ups with Eventbrite. And we'll be doing the videos live at 3 p.m. Pacific on the Facebook page, Radiant Relationship Revolution. So I look forward to seeing you there. And I'm super appreciate Barbara and Capone for joining me today. Donato, it's always a pleasure. And in the meantime, you go love yourself.